Okay. All right. Okay. So, welcome everybody. This is myself, Megan Taslaman, today in Thyroid Healthy Balance, interviewing the wonderful, fantastic Willie Hunter, who I've had the absolute pleasure to help, support, and guide over his health journey over the past 6 months. So, just to give you a little bit of a background, I met Willie roughly 6-7 months ago now. And yeah, and then I'm going to ask Willie some questions because I don't want to kind of put things into Willie's mind about this, but I'm just going to ask Willie some questions about his experience and why he came on board to work with me and my thyroid restoration roadmap. And then let's get into it. How does that sound, Willie?
Sounds awesome. Let's do it.
Fantastic. Okay. So and just for everybody, who may be local, Willie has an accent because whereabouts are you from, Willie?
I live in Battle Mountain, Nevada, United States.
In Nevada. So how fantastic is it with the internet that I was able to connect with you? Yeah, so that's all on its own. That's quite exciting too. So let me just ask you, so 7 months ago when I met you, if you feel comfortable in sharing where you were at with your health and why did you actually jump on board to come and work with me back then?
Well, I was having I got diagnosed with hypothyroidism and HASHIMOTO'S, and I'd been sick for several months. And, I had all kinds of issues with anxiety and stuff like that. And it was hard. It was really hard for me. And I just couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And then when I ran into you on the internet, you said, well, you don't need to be on medication probably. Let's just go ahead and review what you've got. If you got time, we'll just review where you're at and that's what we did. I'd been my doctor put me on levothyroxine, and it helped a little bit. But but the 9 months prior to that, I was just dealing with a lot of anxiety. I was in the emergency room a lot, and they said, "Well, you need to see a therapist." And the therapist put me on medication, and after several months with being with the therapist, and I'm still seeing her. But that wasn't the issue. I just said, look, that's not what's wrong with me. There's something wrong with me.
Yeah. So this is prior to your formal diagnosis with Hashimoto's, just for the viewers that are chiming in here. When you were referred to the therapist, this was prior to your actual official diagnosis.
Yes. The people from the ER said, emergency room said, you need to see a therapist.
Yeah.
And so I went and saw a therapist, and she's a great gal. She really is. I love her dearly. But, several months with her, and I finally just said, you know what, that's not the issue. And my wife has been very sick.
Mm.
And so they said, well, you're just grieving the loss of your wife. And she's still alive, but she's got some serious health issues.
Yeah.
And so they just said, that's the problem. You're just worried about your wife all the time.
Mm.
So
and deep down,
they put me on medication for anxiety, and it just really didn't help.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I ran into it. I went to the doctor and said, look, this is just not working. That's not what my problem is. It's not my wife. There's something wrong with me.
Yeah.
And they ran some tests, and they said that I had thyroid issues, which I don't think it was diagnosed properly. And actually, you pointed that out, Megan.
Yeah.
You said, there's a lot of things we can do before going on levothyroxine.
Yeah. So just to backtrack, you got a formal diagnosis. And, just for the viewers, this happens a lot in the biomedical model that, essentially it's like, okay, the numbers are out. So irrespective of what you're doing in your diet, what you're doing in your lifestyle, the holy grail is levothyroxine or some form of thyroxine medication, right? Which
Correct.
for some people is essential, depending on at the stage. So this, I'm not saying that there's medication is wrong for everyone. However, it didn't add up when I reviewed your pathology results, Willie. And I suppose looking back, it was actually great that we met with you only being on that medication for a few months.
Right. Yes, I'd been on them about 2 months.
About 2 months, yes. And I looked at your results prior to you going on medication, and it just didn't really add up. And I just thought there's so much what we can do on a diet and lifestyle, from a diet and lifestyle point of view, and also exploration in terms of what minerals can actually help support your thyroid function and also your immune system regulation, and looking at your digestive health as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what made you actually come on board?
Megan, you and I had some conversations, and you said that you thought that you could really help me going forward, and so I joined up with you because I was really struggling because I couldn't find anybody in the United States to really understand thyroid disease.
Yeah.
And everything that you said made sense to me.
Yeah.
And so what I got hooked up with you, and the first thing we did, you reviewed all of my blood tests and everything, and then you said, well, we need to concentrate on your diet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when we started concentrating on the diet, and you can probably help me out here because I can't remember all of it, but I got off of sugar completely. There was no refined sugars, no refined carbs.
Yeah. There was a lot of drilling down in there, and from memory, and what I love, and I absolutely love watching you post up your meals now. I mean, you're like a chef. Yeah, you've just got it all down pat. And in the beginning, I remember, there was a little bit of challenge with some things that you were still having that, and this is very, it's kind of normalized in our society. And just for the viewers as well, like we go down the health food shop, or, we purchase gluten-free, and we think we're actually doing our body something good. But then when we drill down into the other ingredients that make up that product, it's not necessarily great for our health long term. So there was a lot of that kind of thorough investigative process.
Well, that was a big learning process for me to understand food.
Yeah.
And you brought that to the table. You said, look, this is what we need to do. And after dealing with you with all of it, it made perfect sense. But I didn't understand it. I didn't understand food, and it made a huge difference. It really did.
Yeah, because that's the thing. At the end of the day, if you look at the can and you can't put it in the ground and grow it, well, we need to question what's in it to keep it alive in that can.
Is where we ended up through the whole thing is, I needed to be on whole food.
Correct.
I didn't need to be on any kind of processed foods, stuff in the center of the supermarket. I needed to be on whole foods.
That's it.
And that's where you led me.
Yes.
And that's where I'm at. If anybody looks at my Facebook page, you will see that my diet's pretty clean.
It's extremely clean. And even now, sometimes when I drill down and say, hey, what's that you're putting on the top there? You've made it from scratch. It's just amazing. You've really turned everything around there. And tell us as well, like in the beginning when I met you, if you don't mind me saying, your digestion wasn't 100% either. There was you had a few issues there, and over time, that's just for the viewers, like that's absolutely possible in turning that around.
Digestion was a big issue.
Mm.
I had constant constipation.
Yeah.
It was just horrible.
Yeah.
And once we started changing my diet, all of that went away. But it was horrible.
Yeah, absolutely.
My gut issues were really bad.
Yeah.
And once we changed everything with the diet, those all went away, and my gut right now is in good shape.
Absolutely, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And that has then trickled on, because I remember when we first met, you had the fatigue, your energy wasn't all that crash hot. So, for a lot of people suffering from thyroid or low thyroid, Hashimoto's, which is actually, trickled down into really impacting the thyroid gland and causing like a sluggish thyroid, sluggish metabolism, it can be really, really difficult to pull out the energy that's required. And then when we couple that with, non-optimal or suboptimal dietary habits, that definitely has a negative impact. So I've noticed over time your energy's really improved.
Yes, my energy's improved tremendously. I'm still working on my exercise program and getting that stuff lined out. But yeah, it's definitely improved big time.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So in terms of how you found your experience in working with me in the Thyroid Restoration Roadmap, and just for the viewers, the Thyroid Restoration Roadmap, it starts with phase 1, and phase 1 is really what I call our clarity through investigation. So that's where we really drill down and make sure that no stone is left unturned. We, I analyze everything that we have available to us. What we don't have available, we find out more. Wherever there's a question mark, we delve deeper to find out the information. And then once we have all of that, then we can really get to work in phase 2, which can actually occur concurrently, but that's essentially what I call a healthy balance rocks. And that is, whereas phase 1, we're working closely one-on-one, phase 2 is more of a group setting. How have you found, and group setting is not for everyone, so I offer, of course, I have one-on-one available for people who just want to work one-on-one, but you've really thrived with this group setting, I found. So tell the viewers more about that. How is that facilitated with you in achieving your health goals?
So I'll tell you, starting out, the group stuff wasn't real good for me.
Yeah.
It really wasn't. But, I just stuck with it. And, you had people come in, you had more people come in. And through the whole thing, I've met some really nice people,
Yeah.
and we became Facebook friends. And so I really enjoy it now.
Yeah.
I didn't at the start, but there's just some really great people, and they have a lot of information, and they share their stuff and I share my stuff, and you facilitate it, and it's pretty awesome, actually.
That's fantastic, because that's the thing, like some of us are really motivated and driven externally. So for those types of people, this group situation can be really, really helpful. And then there's other types of people who are driven more internally, and they just want the one-on-one. So essentially, both is on offer for however which way you work as an individual. Yeah. But that's fantastic to hear. Sometimes, of course, we need to put ourselves out there a little bit to see if a group setting can work. But yeah, clearly it's been working for you, which is great.
Well, it has been working, but it wasn't working at the beginning.
No, that's right.
It really wasn't. I struggled with it. You know, and
Yeah.
then when we got into the group setting and I got to meet some of these people, you've got some really terrific people there. And, we became Facebook friends
Yeah.
and it's pretty cool. It
Yeah.
really is. So I look forward to the weekly meetings.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. That's awesome. Because of course, with all of those touch points, the whole idea is just to kind of give that little support and guidance, but those little steps. Yeah, because when we're actually drilling down deep into diet and lifestyle, which may have been either a habit or something that you've done all of your life, it can be quite confronting to make some changes. So for some people, it can be very confronting to really make some significant changes that are necessary to bring back your thyroid health and your whole health and wellness. And you've made some really big, significant changes. Like I remember talking to you, and we were talking about stress management and better ways to manage stress. And I remember saying to you, there might be a bit of woo-woo here, and you were like, yeah, I'm not really interested in woo-woo. And then eventually you said, okay, well, tell me a bit more about this woo-woo. And but yeah, now you're I don't want to put words into your mouth, but if you feel comfortable in sharing with the viewers some really life-changing practices that you've began and continued to help you with stress management and your mindset, etc., etc.
Well, so the woo was tough for me. I'm a redneck cowboy, and it was kind of rough on me. But you had mentioned joining the Calm app,
Yeah.
and I joined the Calm app. I was on the Calm app for a couple of months, and I never would even use it because I just thought, nah, that's not for me. Through some of your encouragement, I started using the Calm app, and I meditate every morning, and I meditate every evening, and it's made a big difference.
So good.
My breathing has changed. It's just made a huge difference, and I just didn't think that would ever happen for me.
Yeah. So good. Because one of the biggest drivers for Hashimoto's, and Graves' disease, both autoimmune components of thyroid wellness, is response to stress. Response to stress, whether it be internal, whether it be external. And what our body does over time is it adapts. However, there is still that low-grade chronic stress that's kind of humming underneath, that's impacting what's going internally. So that's just fantastic. And you know what? I don't actually even classify that as woo-woo, but I remember you saying that it was a bit hippie.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and through the whole thing, my life has had a lot of challenges with my wife's health concerns.
Yeah.
She's in a long-term care facility, and the stress from that was really traumatic. And she's doing okay, but the stress from my wife being there probably created most of my thyroid issues.
Yeah.
And it just took time to work through all that and to actually get somebody like you that understood how to manage the whole deal. We just had test results, Megan, last week or 2 weeks ago, and they were stellar.
Yeah. Really, really good. Yeah, so good. I think one of the best thyroid panels that I've viewed in quite a while in terms of the ratio of your free T4 to free T3. So that is working really, really well. And just as a reminder to the viewers, this is without medication, because Willie was on medication for a couple of months, and we decided, you know what, before your body is at that point where it needs the medication to do the work for you, let's see what we can do in supporting your thyroid gland and helping to modulate your immune system and of course, drilling down into your gut function and ameliorating, the response in your body to stress. So with all of those factors, essential, and looking at the vitamins and minerals that help to support the thyroid gland and what works for your body and digestive health as well. Essentially, your thyroid's working really, really well. And also your auto antibodies have come right down, which is amazing. They're not zero, but they're pretty close. So that is really good testament.
Very close.
Very close.
Very close. And you know, the next time we run tests, it's going to be zero.
Absolutely. Because what I've noticed, and what, you know, just we've got a couple of tests to compare now, and in the last 6 months, it's been heading in the right direction. And this is by far the best result. So unless something radically from now on in, and just because I know that the other day there was a couple of questions around remission. So the way I class remission is, you know, everything's looking good. The thyroid is functioning well based on what we understand about the population studies in terms of ratios of T4 to T3. The auto antibodies are not in any alarm stage at all. So they've come right down. And this is not in isolation of how Willie in this example, or you know, how you, if this is absolutely possible for you, are feeling. So, you know, this is what I feel is missed in the biomedical model. The clinicians, and I'm sure there's plenty of great clinicians out there, like I'm not tarring everyone, but the clinicians will focus on the numbers and tweak the medication based on the numbers. Never will they actually drill down and say, well, actually, what are you doing in your diet and lifestyle? What are you doing? How have you changed your diet? How are you managing your stress? You know, and if there's any other drivers for you as an individual. So this is unfortunately what's missed. So imagine if 6 or 7 months ago you just kept on that medication and didn't make the necessary changes, the fundamental changes to your diet and lifestyle. It'd just be interesting to see how you would be now.
Yeah, you know, I don't know what that would be, but it wouldn't be good. You know,
Yeah.
and it's just like when you looked at the test results that I had in early June of 2022, you said, well, you're missing a whole lot of stuff for testing thyroid.
Yeah.
You know, I don't remember what they were, but I think she tested for T4 and TSH, and
yes, some of them were just TSH and T4, but not the rest of the panel.
And you said, well, we need to have all these other tests. Well, and then when I talked to my doctor about what you had recommended about free T4, free T3, reverse T3, she goes, oh, well, you don't need that. You don't need to have that. And then I talked to her about being gluten-free, and she goes, oh, you don't need to worry about being gluten-free. And, you know, through all of that, Megan, it's just changed my life.
Yeah. So, yeah, so good.
Cool.
It's pretty cool, all right. Yeah. So, okay, so I suppose what I'd like to ask you, just a final question, if I may. Thank you for jumping on today. There's a lot of people that are actually sitting on the fence. I've come across a lot of people, and they're unsure whether this is something worthwhile doing. If you had a message to say to anyone who's unsure, because at the end of the day, let's just be completely honest here. I facilitate and guide, and I can analyze and recommend, but you're the one that's done the work, Willie. You're the one that's done the work. So full credit to you. I can't make you go gluten-free, and that's just one simple example. You know, I can recommend, but you've got to actually take that action and back yourself in that. And sometimes I question whether people are unsure if they can actually do it. But essentially, I'm here to support and guide you across the whole journey, to go as deep as we need to help you facilitate the necessary changes that really will make a difference. So if you had a message, what would that be?
Well, I guess my message would be, when I first started out, Megan, you gotta analyze costs. That's you do.
Yeah.
Not everybody can do it, but I analyzed the costs. I looked at everything that you said that you could do, and going forward, how we would approach stuff. And I've been with you for 6 months, and it was time to pay up. And I go, do I do another 6 months for Megan? And I didn't even. It was not a second thought.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do another 6 months with Megan, and I
Yeah.
might do another 6 months after that. Because it's just been so helpful.
Yeah, because that's the thing, it's a journey, and the journey never stops. And at the end of the day, full credit to anyone who either wishes to do it alone or come and seek the support and guidance from me, and then after 6 months either go it alone or continue. There's choice for everyone. But yeah, I'm thrilled that you're continuing, because at the end of the day, when we're talking about health, how long is a piece of string? Like, seriously, like when we get to optimal health, and this cool word and terminology that I've been using called wellness abundance, like I'm still expanding my health and wellness.
Mhm.
And when I get to this next level, I think, okay, that feels pretty good. And then you can't imagine that you can feel even better, but you can, because health is expansive. You don't just get there and it stops. It's forever expansive.
It's yeah. People struggle with making that commitment, and I know I struggled with making the commitment to get on board with you. But it was a life-changing situation for me.
Yeah, beautiful. So 6 months of your life, and potentially now another 6 months or 12 months of your life, to make some fundamental changes for your diet and lifestyle, and recalibrate your thyroid health, and bring your Hashimoto's into remission, so that now you've got everything in place for the rest of your life, right? So
Yep.
it's relatively quite a small investment when you consider the knock-on and ripple effect to the rest of your life, and also those that you impact. Because what we know about with vibrational energy, if I may just throw this in here, is when we expand in our health and well-being, it is a ripple effect. It affects other people as well in a very positive way. So whether we're conscious of that or not, it does. So full credit to you, Willie. This is fantastic. I'm absolutely thrilled and honoured to be helping you and supporting you in this way. And yeah, let's continue.
Sounds good to me. I'm very happy with my situation right now.
Awesome. Fantastic. All right. Well, I'm just going to end this off the Facebook now. Oh, by the way, if anyone has any questions, Willie, if anyone wanted to actually just ask you a question, or if they're watching this replay, by the way, viewers, do a hashtag replay so we know that you've watched this. If they have any questions, would you be happy to answer any questions?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, and also if anyone has any questions for me as well, or if anyone's interested in having a discussion about what this thyroid restoration roadmap will look like for you on your health journey, just reach out, chat, and then let's connect and have a chat. All right. Thanks, Willie. All the best.
Thanks for all your help, Megan.